Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to break down a term you've probably heard floating around, enterprise architecture. It sounds a little intimidating, right? But really, it's all about answering one huge question. How do you take a company's big, ambitious vision and turn it into a concrete plan that people can actually build and follow?
To really wrap our heads around this, let's use a simple, but I think really powerful analogy. Forget about technology, forget about servers and code for just a minute. Instead, I want you to imagine you're a city planner and you're looking down at a map of a huge, sprawling metropolis.
So think about it like this. If you're designing just one single building, that's like software architecture. It's detailed, it's specific. Now zoom out a bit. Planning a whole district with its roads, power, and how all the buildings connect, that's more like IT architecture. But enterprise architecture? Well, that's the master city plan. It's the big picture thinking that decides where the financial district goes, where people live, and how the highways connect everything so the city can actually grow without collapsing. It's not just about the parts, it's about how the entire system works together.
You know, EA didn't just pop up out of thin air. It was born out of pure necessity. Back in the 80s, companies were dealing with total IT chaos. Every department bought its own tech, nothing talked to each other, and it was a mess. So in the 90s, frameworks like TOGAF came along to try and bring some order to it all. Then, in the 2000s, the light bulb went off. This isn't just about organizing tech. It's about connecting it to the actual business strategy. And today, it's the engine driving digital transformation, helping companies move fast and innovate.
Okay, so we know EA is the blueprint. But how exactly does it take a fuzzy, high-level business goal, and, every company has them, and turn it into a real, actionable plan that a team can actually go and build?
And here we get to the absolute heart of the problem. You've all heard these phrases. They sound great on a PowerPoint slide or in a big meeting, but they're kind of terrible at giving a developer or a project manager any real guidance. Get closer to the customer. Okay, great. But what does that mean? Do we need a new CRM system? Do we need to standardize our call center scripts or something totally different? The strategy by itself just doesn't tell you what to do. So, to make that vague strategy concrete, enterprise architects focus on two really critical dimensions. First up is standardization. This is all about doing the same things in the same way everywhere. The classic example is a fast food chain. High standardization means that burger tastes exactly the same in Paris, Texas as it does in Paris, France. It drives incredible efficiency. The other dimension is integration. This is all about sharing data and connecting processes. Think about a financial advisor who can see your banking, your investments, and your insurance all on one screen. That's high integration, and it creates a seamless customer experience. Now here's the kicker. Every single company has to decide where it wants to be on this spectrum. And this is where it gets really cool. When you take those two dimensions and plot them on a simple grid, you get four very distinct operating models. This framework, developed by researchers over at MIT, is really the secret sauce for turning that vague strategy into a clear blueprint. Let's walk through each one. First up, in the bottom left corner, you've got diversification. This is for companies that have low standardization and low integration. Just think of a big holding company. Each business unit is basically its own little kingdom, operating independently to win in its own market. The goal of the architect here is pretty minimal. Just provide some basic, cost-saving shared services like HR or finance systems. But otherwise, you let the business units run themselves. Okay, next is the replication model. Here, we've got high standardization, but the different units don't need to be tightly integrated. This is the McDonald's model, right? The whole point is to perfect a business process and then just stamp it out, again and again for massive scale. From an architecture point of view, you need systems that are essentially rip and replace, easy to deploy quickly and reliably at any new location. The coordination model kind of flips that on its head. This is low standardization, but high integration. So different parts of the business might operate in their own unique ways, but they absolutely must share data to give the customer a single, unified experience. Merrill Lynch is a perfect example. Each financial advisor has their own way of working with clients, but, and this is the key, they all plug into one integrated platform to see that client's complete financial world. So the architecture is all about that robust data sharing. And finally, you have the unification model. This is the whole shebang, high standardization and high integration.
This is the ultimate in central control. The entire organization all around the world operates like one single tightly connected machine. Think of a company like Dow Chemical. They use one global system to manage everything from their supply chain to their finances to maximize efficiency. The architect's job here is to build and enforce that global standard.
All right, so those are the 4 playbooks, the 4 fundamental blueprints for a business. But what happens when a truly revolutionary technology comes along and changes all the rules? Let's take a look at how AI is completely shaking up the world for the architects who build these systems.
And I want to be really clear here. We're not just talking about another tool in the toolbox. The research is showing that AI is causing a fundamental shift in how these business blueprints are designed, how they're managed, and how they're optimized. This is a big deal. Companies that don't figure this out are going to be left in the dust.
So how does this actually work in practice? Well, you can think of AI as being an incredibly smart co-pilot for the human architect. For example, it can automatically map out a company's capabilities just by reading its internal documents, a process that used to take people weeks, if not months. An architect can now just use plain English to ask an AI to draft an initial blueprint for a new system. And maybe the most amazing part is that AI can perform these incredibly complex impact analyses, predicting the ripple effects, the blast radius of a single change across the entire company. This lets the human architects focus on the high-level strategy, where they're needed most.
All of this AI power is leading to some wild new ideas, like the autonomous data mesh. Now, this is a huge change from the way things used to be. For decades, a central IT team was the bottleneck for everything related to data. In a data mesh, each business unit owns its data. They treat it like a product that they are responsible for creating and maintaining. And AI is what makes this whole thing possible. It acts as an intelligent, automated set of guardrails, tagging sensitive data, enforcing security policies automatically, which allows every part of the business to move fast and be agile, but without creating chaos. So let's bring it all back home. Take a second and think about your own organization. Which of those 4 operating models does it look like? Is it a unified global machine, a portfolio of diverse businesses, something in between? And then here's the big question for the future. Is your city plan ready to bring on an AI co-pilot to help you build, adapt, and innovate faster than you ever thought possible?